Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another spectacular episode of Mount Schmoedown. And as you can see from the thumbnail and the title of this video, we will start with the amazing, hilarious, entertaining Eliot Dewberry and then go right in to who we talked about last week, the wild man, Josh McCouga. We will go over one of our favorite teams, the Wildberries. Let's go. Like, how can you not be excited about this team? Anytime you see those two together, you can't just go, Wild Bears! Wild Bears! Wild Bears! Like, it's so entertaining. Them together, like, you would think it wouldn't really work, but it's so entertaining. I love it.
I do completely agree. I mean, they're the loudest talkers. I mean, they're like the guys who will just say a random one-liner, and you think the joke won't fall, but it's because of their abrasive attitude, it works. Literally on paper, it doesn't seem that they work, but what we're about to do with Dewberry and Makuga, looking at their team's history, they're like the strongest player in their separate teams, and then you fuse them together, you think you're going to get like a crazy super team, but it's still just a fun, crazy team altogether.
Yeah. Every time you think Wildberries, this is what I think of.
Exactly.
It literally is the best GIF ever made from the Schmoedown, in my opinion, because you can see Jen's like, what am I doing here?
I know. I wish I had gotten a Chardonnay for that. Oh, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from our host, Brandon. Yes, this is Mount Schmoedown. I am your other co-host, Ryan Payne. And also above me is your we share the power here at Mount Schmoedown,
yes.
And that is Ben Rayner. And from what you've heard, we're talking about Dewberry, we're going to talk about the Wildberries, and we're going to touch on Makuga. But you know what? We definitely want to jump into Wildberries from our excitement, but Let's take a journey and let's talk about the mountain himself, Dewberry, guys. With Dewberry, what are your general impressions of him?
His singles career, I can't. Oh no, sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
He's a solid player. He might not be the best, but he could hang in there with most of the players. I mean, not everyone is going to be on that upper level, but he's like the top of the mid level, if that makes sense.
No, we understand you completely. Yeah. It's actually funny thing is, it's just like but even when I was rewatching all the matches, I decided just for fun to rewatch Only Stupid Answers versus The Odd Couple, and that line that DJ says, like, you can't be like the Godfather or the Best Picture, but everyone remembers The Room, you know. You may not be the best, but you're still going to be memorable, and that's Dewberry himself.
Right. Perfect analogy. Perfect analogy.
When I think Dewberry, nothing from his singles career ever comes into my mind. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, honestly, because with Dewberry, I immediately thought of Wildberries or ETC.
Yeah.
But looking at his singles career, it's kind of amazing. I mean, the people he went up against. He went up against Drew McWeeny, Mark Riley, Matt Nose.
His first match was against Matt Nose. He won 11-9. So yes. He got his first win against, that was season 3, so I think Matt Nose had not completely understood the Schmoedown yet, and I don't think he had played with Roka too much yet, so they didn't have that chemistry yet. So, but a win's a win. It doesn't matter when in the Schmoedown it was. A win's a win.
Exactly. I also forgot to say he fought Bibiani too. But regardless of who he played, I actually looked after his match against Nose. I looked against Riley, and that was like Riley's match after he lost the belt to Dan. And say if he had lost to Dewberry, it would have been a very interesting path, because Riley beating Dewberry led him on his road to redemption to get that belt from John Roca. And I know in our previous episodes we had I touch on the idea of what if matches. It would have been hilarious if Dewberry had actually won that road to the title and he had fought John Roca.
He
I
wasn't
mean,
either. It wasn't a bloodbath, if I remember correctly. It was a pretty close match, right? The Riley Dewberry?
Yes.
yeah, Riley Dewberry, and then the next person got to face Clark Wolf.
14-13. So he barely lost. But
Yeah.
he I think at that time when he did that up against Riley, he was like, oh, maybe Dewberry's not that bad. He beat Matt Nost. He almost beat Riley. But Riley was able to pull it out.
And also with Dewberry, the team of ETC, it's the one thing they always kept going back with Dewberry and how good he was is his match the team match against Alicia Malone and Scott Mance when they won the upset. Like Christian as a collider used that clip every time Dewberry was doing an interview. It's always to remind people that he is good. And it's kind of one of those things where Dewberry was kind of a bit of an upset machine. Like he was like that player who would upset people or give you a match you didn't expect. And let's just talk. And we've already talked about some of Dewberry's matches, but let's talk about this dude on the mic, honestly, because he is so abrasive, blunt in your face. Like he'll just throw an offensive comment, not offensive comment, but just something that to be an insult. And I don't know, for me, I find it hilarious. Like it's just because he gives you that I don't give a fuck attitude. I don't give an F attitude to where it's just hilarious.
And it seems so natural for him. Like it flows out of his mouth, which is why he makes the perfect partner to the Wildman, to Josh McCougar.
Yeah, he is. And Bakuga, during that time, he did do post interviews for some of the matches. So it's almost as if the sprinklings of the Wildberries were kind of there from the post interviews that Josh had whenever he did with Dewberry.
Right.
Yeah. And something that I completely forgot until I was doing my research the other day. He was in that 5-way with Mance, Inman, Robert Meyer, Burnett, and Bateman.
Yes.
And he held his ground. He did fairly well.
I believe he tied with Bateman after the first round, or he I think he did, or he tied with Mance after the first round.
So yeah, because the final score was Mance had 12, Dewberry had 10, Inman 16, R&B 13, Bateman 13.
Yeah, he was the first one eliminated, but still, it's like, yeah, Dewberry's a solid player. I mean, there's nothing to go under that. I mean, despite what what the stats or his record is, he'll pull out that knowledge will come out of him depending on the luck of the questions or how fortunate he is. I mean, okay, ETC, for Christ's sake, it's clear he was the only solid player of that team. Ricky Hayberg was just there to complement their attitude. And I'm gonna be honest, I watched their matches, and I'm gonna say it. These guys were the original heels. They were like the heels you wanted to hate. I mean, their match against Tough Beats, who, when I do my research, turns out that they were the first team, Perry Nemiroff and Jonathan Boyko, to be voted as Babyface Team of the Year. And the fact that ETC beats them, that was, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a shock or so, but it was an upset, especially with the momentum that Tough Beats that they had off of that vote, off of winning that award. It was amazing to see that only Dewberry out of all three of those players played solidly. I mean, Perry Nemiroff, she held her own, but Dewberry was one who really was the standout of that match. And then later on their matches, even in their match against Wolves of Steel, which was a #1 contender shot to go against the Patriots.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that, I say, is another what-if match. So what if ETC won? They would have fought the Patriots, not the Wolves of Steel. Like, that match also has like a rippling effect because also ETC broke up after that loss, which led to Ricky Hayberg getting Bibiani to the "I betray you."
Yeah, that match. You definitely know why Riley and Wolf are some of the best competitors we've ever had in the Schmoedown. They worked so well together. I wish we could get them back for just like one more match.
One more round, yes.
One more round of the Wolves of Steel. You know what would be an interesting what-if match? No, not a what-if match, but just like a online match of Patriots versus Wolves of Steel.
Yeah.
I
Like,
would love
the Patriots too. I would love that.
Well, here's a question for you. Who is the better team, the Wolves and Steel or the Shire Wolves?
Ooh,
Oh my God.
the problem with that is I feel like if I say one team, it says the other team's not as good, but both teams are so good.
Yeah.
But the thing with Riley and Wolf is they kind of have the same strengths and the same weaknesses. But I feel like Shire Wolves, they cover each other's holes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they just balance each other out better. I would say the Shire Wolves. Also, I love those two. Rachel Cushing and Clark Wolf together was always.
Oh, they're amazing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't care what the fans said. They were one of the best teams the Schmoedown's ever had.
Yeah. I was one of the biggest, staunchest, and still today defenders and fans of Shire Wolves during their time. I mean, look, that is a good question, Ben. I too would be you if you put a gun to my head, you might as well just pull the trigger because I would not have decided. Because I love the Wolves. I was a big fan of the Wolves still. I wanted them to beat the Patriots. I wanted them to get that run again in the team's tournament to face the Patriots again, but above the line won. And also Riley and Clark, they also had that great affinity. Like, yeah, exactly what Brandon said. They have the same strengths, same weaknesses. It was apparent in that ETC match. They only got like 3 questions, same as ETC. Like, it was almost an even level match outside of the Wolves being the stronger players. But it really did fall to where the Wolves, all they had to do was answer one question to beat ETC, and it could have been that they didn't get anything. But also, I love the fact, just like with the Shire Wolves, it matches Clark's penchant for entrances. Like, her and Riley would do the horror entrances of It, The Shining, Chucky, and then, of course, the Shire Wolves, their entrances were great of A League of Their Own, doing the Girls Run the World, where they were dressed like Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe. Their match against hold on, I'm drawing off here to where I'm going to be talking mainly about the Shire Wolves when we should be about Dewberry and
Wildberries.
Yeah, Wildberries. But you know what?
Wildberries.
I think enough is said about Dewberry. I mean, he was the original heel, original bad boy, and from what I could tell, he's kind of pretty much. I think he was kind of like one of the basis of the unlikable heels. Like before we started getting better ones out there, like Bateman, Dagnino, Guy, even at a time with Roca, even with hell, I'm just gonna say it, Brandon Hanna. I mean, look, there's unlikable guys, and then there's the cool unlikable guys. And Dewberry was able to toe that line.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely was. And how they came together, speaking of, let's do this. We're now talking about the Wildberries. Wildberries! Wildberries!
Well, I'm trying to find. I think I might have a postcard of that. Yes, I do. There it is. And right at the back, the whole example.
Yeah.
The whole fun fact, the formation of the Wildberries. It was amazing.
Yep. August 31st, 2017. Wildberries versus Wolves of Steel. Wolves of Steel wins 22-17 by a tactical knockout.
Yep.
But from that point forward, anytime we got the Wildberries on a card, on a match, it was so exciting.
Yes.
Because you always knew, trivia-wise, maybe they wouldn't probably win, but they would. The entertainment factor would always be there. Anytime you talk to someone, you're like, yeah, Wildberries match, always one of my favorite matches. Not because of the trivia, but because they were just having fun. Because there's from that point forward is when the Schmoedown started to get very serious. So you had a lot of teams that were like super serious, like straight face, wouldn't crack a smile, and then you get the Wildberries. They literally have a red Solo cup and they're drinking while dancing.
Yes, or a bong. They bring out a bong and then go to town on it. And it's hilarious. Like Wildberries is the prime example of people you can still play trivia and have a good time. I mean, their losses against Will Steer and Only Stupid Answers, yeah, they were losses. But then the post interviews, for Christ's sakes, you give those guys mics. You didn't have to worry about asking them. You just give them one question, they go off. I still love how in their loss against Wolves of Steel, Eliot and Josh were just ad-libbing. They were just bouncing off each other. It was like, what does a wildberry taste like? We don't know what a wildberry tastes like. We got a little bit of honey, some vinegar, and we make something that's very, very bad. You don't know what a wildberry is until it is in you.
All right, so let's just take the name Wildberry. I love the mixture of Josh, the Wild Man Makuga.
Yes.
Eliot, Dewberry. Like, there have been some team names where Christian was just spot on, and this is one of them. Like take Wolves of Steel. Like, I get that one because Riley is a huge Man of Steel fan.
Yes.
But unless you know Riley, that team name, you kind of don't get the second half of it. Wildberries, you get it because it's Josh Wildman Makuga and Eliot Dewberry.
Exactly.
Yeah, their first two matches actually they lost by TKO. They lost by TKO. So if you're looking at stats wise, why are you guys talking about the Wildberries? If you're a fan of the Schmoedown, you know exactly why we're talking about the Wildberries. They are, in my opinion, the most entertaining team to watch in any match. And they actually are part of history within the Schmoedown too. They were at the first ever live event against the Real Rejects.
Wow.
Could you think of any two other teams that would be more entertaining than the first live events?
Yeah.
I would maybe Wildberries versus the Patriots.
The only problem is that a lot of people don't like the Patriots because they kept winning a lot and they weren't entertaining.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially in that year. I mean, look, that is a great pick there, Ben. But looking at that season, the live event came just months after Top 10-3 and the Patriots, the James Fonda.
75 degrees Fahrenheit, clear skies and sun.
Oh, it looks like we accidentally activated someone's Siri. Did I say temperature?
Sorry about that.
Don't worry. Don't worry, man.
The thing is, the score of that match was, to be honest, a lot higher than if you would have asked me without seeing the match. What that 25-22. It's a very high-scoring teams match.
That's like the highest the Wildberries ever scored, and I'm trying to think if that's this. I mean, even counting their win against Late to the Party, I think may have nearly been within the 20s as well. But that match itself, I mean, and that's a great question you brought too. Like, what the card itself? I mean, you had Roka and JT as the main event, but seriously, you needed to stack that undercard. Wildberries were perfect, and even their promos was awesome too. I mean.
That is one thing that I think people underestimate about Josh Makuga. The man can cut a promo.
Yes.
Man can cut a promo. Very exciting. It probably helps that he's drinking too.
Or you just get him, or you just get amped up. I just loved when Dewberry, like after the Rejects did their little rap to hype the crowd up, and then it's just more like, I can't write words together. Stop making fun of my wife. That's all you needed from Josh.
Yeah, it was entertaining, definitely, for sure. And that match, they started going on a win streak. They won that one, then they won their next match against the Kingsmen, 20-15. That one by a TKO.
Yes.
Now Kingsmen, they weren't the strongest team with Jack Hine and Devon Stewart, but again, they were also fairly entertaining team. They could their promos were pretty funny as well. So it's one of those teams where the trivia knowledge wasn't near the top. So their entertainment and character work was pretty solid. So I get why this is a team within the Schmoedown.
And the main thing is that match, it's like on private video, so I was only able to find like reactions for that match. And I don't want to know why that video was taken off of the I'm not going to ask questions there. But even then, it's still a very entertaining match. The Wildberries come out. It's nothing but America, England insults. like my favorite was Dewberry in the posing for during the match before he goes, why don't you head down to, if you want to get some tea, just head down to Boston and get the tea. And then, of course, Jack Hines, he actually stepped up. He actually stepped up to the Wildberries on the beer bong, though, where Dewberry only took like a half chug, took a half can of beer. And then I rewatched it. Hines, he did a full chug of a full beer can. And it was just like, ooh, we're going to get that kind of match. And even then, also that match, Makuga, for one of the rare times, ever since the Wildberry, he was genuinely pissed off over a question. And I think, it was the question regarding which Adam Sandler movie came out first, Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. Devon Stewart just simply wrote Billy, and he challenged it because he didn't put the full title.
Yeah, that's not the full title of the movie. I completely understand why Josh would be. Yeah. Also, I think he loves Adam Sandler movies. He loves Adam Sandler. So yeah, Josh will know all of those answers. So I can understand.
He lost that challenge though. He lost the challenge because Mark Prima said the movie title during the question, so they would have accepted anything. And Josh, watching that, he really was pissed off. Like, it wasn't until maybe after the question in the 90s he got back into the swing of things, but he was stone-faced. He wasn't bouncing off of anybody, and it shows there that Josh, he loves the game, and he also understands when, like everyone else, he doesn't like it when like Roka, like Kalinowski, like Wolf, like Riley, like pretty much everybody, when someone gets an answer that's not technically correct. And go for it, Ben. Yeah, we've been dominating you.
No, I just wanted to say, I would be pissed off too, because really, it's not the name of the movie. It's really Madison. Why would he lose that challenge?
It was because the question, it was pretty much technically kind of like a multiple choice thing. They were just asking you which movie came first out of Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. That's why even though they understood, I definitely would have agreed with the challenge too, but at the same time, they technically already gave you two different answers, and all they were asking was which one came first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, trust me, the reaction videos I watched too, some of them were agreeing with Mark on the challenge, and one was like, no, Makuga should have won that challenge, And there's one thing I wanted to touch on when we were talking about Makuga, and that we wanted to hold off on. This was mainly just his team's record. And with the Mega Powers, one match they played when they played against the Patriots, it did set a precedent moving forward, because in that match against the Patriots and Mega Powers, in round 2, the Patriots spun opponent's choice, and they spun again. They got a mulligan. It wasn't until after that loss, the Mega Powers, Josh and Dagnito, were making a protest, or at least a precedent, that if you land on opponent's choice, you have to stay with it. And from then on, that's what happened. It stayed. That became a new precedent in the Schmoedown.
That is interesting. I never knew that. I might have forgot that.
Well, yeah, no one remembers that. I mean, because let's be honest, most of the matches, most people are going to recommend you the most entertaining or the ones that they personally love. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like that all of us were trying to at least review a majority of the matches. I mean, look, with Makuga, he had over 15 to 20 matches, so we couldn't watch everything. But right. I decided just to go over all of season 3 and 4 of Collider. And when I saw that Patriots and Mega Powers match, I saw, you know what? That is a very interesting point there. And I wanted to, and most likely when we do this again for other players, maybe we'll see if there are other instances where someone lands on opponent's choice or spinner's choice and they spun again. Because look, it's obvious. We know someone who got spinner's choice and spun again, and that was in Houston.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most famous moments ever of spinners and opponent's choice.
Yes.
Is Bateman in Houston literally spinner's choice twice. That is definitely one of those moments where you're like, is this match fixed? But I'm like 99.9% sure these matches are not fixed. It's very odd that you could spin spinner's choice twice. It is a digital wheel. It is a digital wheel.
Yeah.
And I could go off on the digital wheel, and I'm not going to. But
we all could. I could make a digital wheel on my phone, and maybe we might get Spinner's Choice once out of 7 times.
yeah. But no, they then had their next match there in season 5 was against It
was Anarchy.
Yes, Anarchy, Evil Geniuses, the Harris brothers.
Wildberries were the one team that did not.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that's JT and Lon Harris. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We knew exactly what you meant. But I love the fact that Anarchy, when it was introduced, it was going to break up so many established teams. I mean, Team Action got broken up, which we got Who's the Boss. Shire Wolves would have potentially been broken up had they not had won the teams match, and we would have gotten McWeenie and Wolf, Cushing and Guy. Instead, they won, and then we end up getting
I want that team, so I would love to see the ultimate heel with the ultimate babyface. Like how that would have been. Oh my God, those promos would have been spectacular. But unfortunately, Guy had some real life work stuff to deal with, so we never got that team.
Because even if Cushy didn't win, the Guy's backup team would have been him and Janine, and then the work stuff got in the way.
Yeah, oh God, that would have been so. I know. I want that team so bad.
We should do an episode where we just do we fantasy book a what if match, and then we just start going crazy.
I would be down for that. That would be fun.
Yeah. But let's talk about the Wildberries. The fact that they were able to remain a team in Anarchy, and yes, they lost to Evil Geniuses, but it was like that rare time to where we would have lost something really special with the Wildberries. And it was just amazing. They stayed together in season 5. They come back in season 6. We get some more classic Wildberries. But the match itself, it was once again Wildberries lost TKO. You know, it was just just there. It was entertaining.
Their first match in season 6 was against the two goats of the Schmoedown, the founding fathers, Roca and Merle.
That is my favorite Wildberries match.
Hold on, I'm gonna need some courage before I talk about this match.
Is that the match where Makuga grinds on the belt?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That might be my favorite Josh Makuga moment.
Grinds it. Oh my God!
What did you just take a shot of?
I took a shot of brandy.
Oh, Woo. Yeah.
We're talking about Wildberries. Why not? Right?
We're talking about founding fathers and the Wildberries. God, that match.
I mean, they stayed fairly close. Like, to be honest, when I saw that come, I'm like, there's no, like, I thought that was gonna be a knockout. Like, I thought Roca and Dan would just obliterate those two. Nothing against Dewberry and Makuga, but
yeah, nothing personal.
And Merle are the ghosts of the Schmoedown. They are the reason why the Schmoedown is at this moment. So I was like, they're probably like after round 1, it's probably like 15-10 or 15-9.
Maybe like 15-6, after round 1, and then they it pretty much that could have been what Only Stupid Answers and the Odd Couple match was. A huge TKO. But the fact that Josh and Dewberry, who pretty much did the mirror effect in Star Trek terms, became their mirror version of themselves, the Wildberries. They stayed very competitive.
I don't like the Wildberries. No.
I'm glad.
Flip that M upside down. Give me that W with the Wildberries. Come on.
Yes. Oh my God. But I'll say though, the Wildberries, they were very impressive. Like they even shocked the commentaries. Like, wait, this isn't the match we thought we were gonna get. I know you want to say something, then go for it.
I like the Wildberries not because I mean, yeah, it was funny, but then they were the transformation scene when Superman whip open shit, the Wildberries became the Wildberries. That was epic for me.
We're talking about the Wildberries. I should be putting on a blazer because it's the Wildberries. So let's do this. All right, here we go. All right, sorry. Let's keep going, Ben. Yeah, sorry.
Wildberries!
Wildberries! There we go. Yeah, let me give everyone a shot of this blazer here. It's a nice sporty blazer. Maybe I can put the camera down a little further. Yeah, see, it's a nice suede. So it won't take too much of the light.
No.
It's a nice blazer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing about the Wildberries. Their fashion sense. The blazers, the Josh's America, red, white, and blue pants. Oh my God, that's one thing I loved about them. They may have had wild entrances, but I just love the bright colors that they bounced off of each other.
Yeah. Again, they might not be the best team for trivia, but they're the more entertaining. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah, there is no doubt about it in my mind that they are, in my opinion, the most entertaining team that's ever been in the Schmoedown. Like, if you were to pull everyone, all right, who's the most entertaining team ever in the Schmoedown? I can bet you the Wildberries are almost near at the top, unless it's someone that's only been watching the Schmoedown this year. Obviously, they haven't seen the Wildberries. But anyone that's been watching basically since the Collider era definitely is probably Wildberries all the way.
Yeah. The Wildberries may not be the knowledgeable or the most winning team out there, but if it came to a Schmo, but even then on our mountain of the best, I still put the Wildberries up there because they may have not, out of the 5 aspects of what would make a great plate, like their knowledge, personality, character, ability to win, and maybe their records, I say the Wildberries still cover 3 out of those 5 because they did pull some wins, and their personalities and their characters are great. You can see through their promos and how much they love being around each other.
Well, you know how everybody loves them? Because of the draft. Because when Shannon brought them up, you could feel, I wasn't there, but you could feel it. You could feel it on the internet. You could feel what everyone was feeling. That's how you know everyone loves.
I want to pull this up and just have us react to this moment because I absolutely, this moment is probably one of my favorite Josh McCouga moments of all time. Let's remove that. You know exactly what I'm doing here.
Yes.
All right, so now we go to the 3-pointer. This is the.
He holds it out.
What's this? He throws it. What? What is he doing?
No. Pick the belt up. Pick it up.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Put it on the table.
Don't do it.
Oh God.
What are you?
Oh God. Oh God, I need a shot just to get that out of my brain.
That is hands down my favorite Josh McCouga moment ever in the Schmoedown. Like it's so great. First he throws it on the floor and Rogue's like, "What are you doing, young man? What are you doing?" Grabs it. And
I think Christian would have cursed his ass off. Oh my God. Oh, good. Keep going, Brandon. Keep going, man. Shit.
Okay, Christian. Oh, come on.
Apologies, man. Sorry for interrupting you there. It was just
no.
I was just saying, Christian. Even though the camera wasn't on him, Christian, he probably took off that mic and was like, "What the are you doing, man? What the are you doing?"
Yeah, that was pre-recorded. So I would have loved to see been in the studio. They're like, "Cut, McCouga, what are you doing?"
Well,
because you can tell Christian was like, "Oh my God, what the."
Yeah, even Roca, he couldn't. He cracked up, and Dan, even though he thought it was funny, even he was still like, "Dude, that's my belt, man. What are you doing with my belt?" And then, I even loved in the interviews afterward. Dan's like, "Oh yeah, I double disinfected my belt to make sure it's okay."
Yeah,
and that just keep going. Go ahead.
No. Dan's probably like, "Oh, I gotta just do something, dry clean this, disinfect it." And then everything known to man,
And then call up Sam to get at least 3 times the strength of belt polish.
Yeah, but no, that's definitely one of my favorite moments there for Josh Makuga. I'm hoping though that we get hopefully next season another match with the Wildberries. Hopefully Josh's schedule allows it. Because I think that's what the holdup was this year.
It might be.
Well, also they're not in the same faction. That too, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it might be Dewberry versus Makuga. Who wins that match?
That could be an undercard, honestly. I swear, if Christian has not made an undercard
for that team match, for that team title match. Oh my!
Yes,
gosh.
he is not. And if it's Makuga versus Dewberry, I'm sorry, all you Action Army fans out there. That is the Civil War. That is going to be insane. The Wildberry Civil War. It's no longer wild anymore.
All right. That is our hashtag for this episode, Wildberry Civil War.
Exactly, yes. So everybody watching this episode, you send this to Christian. You put this on your Twitters. You tag the Schmoedown. You tag Harloff. You go on to SEN Live. You go on to one-on-one if he allows the Schmoebot. And you put hashtag Wildberry Civil War.
That's not well, those are pre-recorded.
Oh. Yeah.
There's no way that he would turn this. Even though he would love to make the money for it, there's no way that he would ever risk the person like, what? This is so unprofessional. Like,
no, you're right. I can't wait to listen to his episode with Paul Walter Hauser and with Mary Jetikin. So, and I loved his previous one-on-one. So yeah, it was just more of like, I don't want to make Christian's life miserable, but it's just like, if we can't get, I just want one match with Makuga this season. We've been denied that. I mean, scheduling. I've seen a few episodes of Eating History. Looks like Josh could use a couple of whiskeys to chase down whatever he ate. But still, I want another match of Dewberry in there. And him and Dewberry would be the great undercard, even at a spectacular. Like, they would be fantastic. Just, you get all the belts. You put all the belts on the line there. But then you kick us off with the Wildberry Civil War.
Yeah. That would be fun.
But you know what, guys?
I don't know who I would pick in that match, though. Like, I feel like Makuga's the stronger player.
Really?
But I think while Dewberry's had certain team matches where he's carried the team. So for me, it's a really hard pick. Like every other match, if you watch my reactions, I say this every time, it comes down to round 2. If say Josh spins like sports movies or 80s, then it's his. But say Dewberry spins one of his, or we get a spinners and opponent's choice situation. Like, it really comes down to round 2 in every match. Like, and definitely you can see that this season more than any. There are so many matches that turn in round 2. Either someone's behind and they take the lead, or someone's ahead and they stumble in round 2 and the other person's able to catch up and win the match. So I think if we would get Makuga Dewberry, it would come down to round 2.
You know what? I just thought of something. I think I'd rather have that match next season when we can have it live.
Yeah, I think that could be an actual live event.
Right. I can't see it happening, because in my mind, I see the match ending with some kind of reunion, and you got to see that hug. You got to see the hug between Makuga and Dewberry.
No, you are making a great point. I would love to see that match live, actually. I would fly, pay an Airbnb or a hotel room just to watch that match live, honestly.
I mean, yes, it would be epic this season, but we gotta have it live. I'm sorry, that has to be. I love everything else. That's the live event we need.
Yeah, and look, we danced around it, guys, but yeah, that split. Oh my God, I was there at the Schmo Awards draft when Shannon did that. I mean, I probably said this a couple of times. I probably said this on a
She should win Heel of the Year just for that. Just for
yes, She'll get moment of the year. But that's definitely a guaranteed hands down moment of the year. You don't need to have the fans vote. That's just automatically on that ballot. And the funny thing is that rewatching Wildberries, when I saw that match, Wildberries and Real Rejects said in their post interview that they will never break up. Who knew? Who knew?
Someone didn't tell that to Shannon.
Yeah, who knew that they were the team that actually reunited after the draft? That was insane with the Real Rejects. We lose the Wildberries, but the Real Rejects still stay together. Oh, God.
Yeah, oh, man, Shannon. I love Shannon. I do, but that moment, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I was just, no. And I was listening behind Chance and Mike, and they were just sort of like, yeah. I'm like, no. And like half the other people in the audience. It was it's a moment that Shannon, it shows her genius, honestly. Look, I'm never bowing to Shannon as the queen because she split up the Wildberries, but it was a genius move.
Let me ask you guys something. Did you see it coming?
No.
Right.
If Winston had not selected Makuga, I'm pretty sure Shannon would have picked somebody else. But because Makuga got drafted and Shannon, in those perfect set of circumstances, was right after Winston, it was just, she already had.
I think I've heard Winston say that his plan was his next pick was to get Dewberry.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I mean, he said that on SCN. He's even said it on his Twitch stream. I mean, jeez. Oh my God, it was just perfect. It's one of those situations where Shannon reminds everybody that the draft is random. You have no idea what the next person's gonna pick. Sure, you might have a plan down there, but Shannon showed that, to quote Game of Thrones, chaos is a mother effing ladder, and
Christian loves chaos. Like Christian loves whenever chaos happens. Like I can see Christian sitting in a dark room when he sees stuff going on the Facebook page and Twitter, he's like, it's just because it gets people talking about the Schmoedown, and that's what he needs. He needs us to be talking on all sorts of social medias about it, telling our friends, getting more people to watch.
Family as well. I mean, I've seen posts of family. I've seen some Twitter threads and some Facebook threads where they're sharing photos of text conversations with families where they've shown Schmoedown episodes to where one of the best responses is, this looks interesting. I think I might watch a few more. And it's just that intrigue. And I think that's why the Wildberries are a great example of just showing someone a match and just seeing how fun and chaotic it can be, but still professional.
Okay. If there was one Wildberries match to show someone who's never watched the Schmoedown, which one would you choose?
As much as I want to show the Wildberries and Founding Fathers, that's something where I gotta get someone to at least see 2 or 3 more matches. I'd show them the live show, the Wildberries, or them versus the Wolves of Steel. But
that one.
Yeah.
The issue with the Founding Fathers one is the person needs to understand who Roka and Dan are.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the first match they watch, they may find it funny how Makuga's grinding up against the belt, but they're not going to really get the meaning behind it.
And also, the title of that match, it says Wildberries versus Founding Fathers. I mean, sure, it's the Wildberries, but in the interview...
No, actually, it doesn't. It says Founding Fathers versus Wildberries - movie trivia Schmoedown.
Oh, they must have changed that, because I remember the first time it got released on YouTube, it said Wildberries. They must have changed it.
Yeah. So, and then on this match, instead of drinking beer, they have wine, so they're classy.
Yes, a nice Merlot to compliment. The other's red Sauvignon Blanc. Oh wait, we need to talk about one thing about the Wildberries. I also associate them with is Jen Sturger, because their interviews with Jen is just fantastic.
This right here,
Wildberries. That itself, Josh McCool's loss. Jen, this is one thing we may talk on more with other players, but when Jen Sturger gets that certain competitor, she but she's able to get someone a great highlight moments. Like, one thing I love on the Schmoedown Facebook tab is that every now and then, I believe Justin, he'll post down a collection of the greatest quotes from Schmoedown players. majority of them are from interviews with Jen Sturger, honestly.
Yeah, Jen is truly underappreciated in the Schmoedown.
Yes.
I think the Yodi Award, I know everyone wants to give it to Nerd Chronic, who's had a spectacular year, but there are other underappreciated people who work in the Schmoedown. Jen Sturger, hashtag Free Jessica.
Yeah.
And also Brian Ward, who I don't know if
Brian Ward. Yeah, most of the postcards I got, they were from his art designs.
Like, I'm really on the train for Brian Ward because Brian Ward's been doing it since like season 3. Like, he's like, no one knows about him that much. And I'm like, we need to thank him for all the hard work that he has done. Any great artwork that you've seen in the Schmoedown, these posters, the graphics that they use, courtesy of
even
Brian
some
Ward.
T-shirt designs, even a couple of T-shirt designs. Those are Brian Ward.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Brian Ward. Every time I see something, every time I see Christian post something like with graphic art, I'm like, Brian Ward, right? He's like, yeah. Who else would do it? So yeah. And Brian Ward lost his father to COVID-19 about, I think, a month or two ago. So yeah, I've been the biggest I'm ever since like early start of the year, I have been a big proponent. I've been a staunch person who I've always put down on live events or on comments. Just Jen for Yodi, Yodi for Jen, not for Nerd Chronic. And not because I'm going against popular opinion, but because, like with Brian Ward, I'm also familiar with Jen Sturger too. I would say she's underappreciated, but she's most of the time she's overlooked by the broader of the fan community, as we see. And when you do look at great highlight moments of the Schmoedown, especially in post-interview after matches, Jen is mostly there. I mean, sure, every now and then you'll get a change-up, like in the early Collider series. You had Josh, you had Sasha Porraver, you had Emma, you had Brianne Chandler, you had Grace Hancock doing interviews. But when Jen took over that role, when she became the proponent of post-interviews, she not only... Go for it, Ben, go for it.
I really want to say she's great. She made it her own. I mean, and she always had fun time watching her.
Yes.
People.
When she was on the desk this past week, I lost my shit. I'm like, finally!
Yes. Like the last time I saw her on the desk was like season 6.
Last time she was on the desk was Free for All 2. She's only been on. This was her second time on the desk.
Serious? I thought she did at least one match in season 6.
No, I am like 99% sure that the only time. Yeah, because Christian needs her doing those post-match interviews, and it's because nothing against anyone else, but no one can do these post-match interviews better than Jen. Like, it's...
And Christian and Mark have tried in the digital era, but it's clear Jen, she does something great. No disrespect to Christian and Mark. No disrespect.
No. Nothing against them. It's just not what their strength is.
Yeah.
Her strength is just being able to talk to people, communicate, get something out of them. She knows, and then she's able to lead these competitors with these questions to provide great character work.
And she has great responses too. Even when people are going into their character, like whenever, like, some of my favorite stuff, she'll just have that blank dead stare towards the camera when a heel is just going crazy. Or heck, whenever Ben and Guy during their time were calling her Jessica, it was kind of like, she has like, I don't know how she's able to do a perfect response to no, but her attitude just goes off of, you know what my freaking name is. But it's just like she has like this great charisma and this natural ability to go along with the players. I mean, that's why she has great gifts when you see her, not just of Wildberries. But there are some great gifts. I mean, I've gone to Facebook when I do Schmoedown Jen Sturger or just Schmoedown in general. Jen will pop up even on either Twitter or on Facebook when I just type in Schmoedown for gifts. Yeah. And you see Jen Sturger's there, and she just has great reaction, great comedic timing. And let's be honest, other than the Wildberry, she's also synonymous with the Founding Fathers, because with that match against Corruption, that was fantastic. If we did like a top 5 of Jen's best people she posts interviews, Makuga and Roka are the top two.
That would be so hard to do it. Top 5 best Jen Sturger post-match interviews.
We were doing one, right?
She was the one when we had it for Team Action versus DC Movie News, right? When
Yes, she was there. Yeah,
that moment. That is my favorite Mike moment of all time. What do you like?
When he left? When he left?
That's when we got the real Mike.
Yeah.
I would say Mike. He changed. When we get to Mike, we're definitely talking about that moment too.
Mike's gonna be several episodes.
Oh yeah, with that, everybody. Mike, he's probably gonna be one of our first, or he's gonna be probably one of our first 3-parters. To be honest.
Yeah, he might be a 3-parter.
Definitely.
We might be able to do singles and teams in one, but it may be difficult.
Because he's been on 2 different teams, just like with Makuga and Dewberry, and his attitude with the different teams have also shown too. Like, okay, let's start with the growth of Dewberry with his teams. With ETC, he was clearly the heavy, like he was the backbone of that team, always saving them from suffering like TKO. That's the funny thing with ETC. I don't think he's ever gotten a TKO defeat like he has with the Wildberries, which says something. But that was a different game back then, and that was clear with the Schmoedown how different it was. But seeing that the fact that with Dewberry, that's one thing I say about the Schmoedown's past of the different format structures. When it was originally the 6 questions in round 1 before they did whiteboards, that game definitely complemented and also highlighted Dewberry as a Schmoedown player. Same it did with Josh Makuga as well. And moving forward, when we did get to the whiteboard era, even then you still saw that shades of Dewberry brilliance. Like with the when they fought late to the party, Dewberry gets his first ever perfect round.
So that match was supposed to be here in Phoenix live. I was supposed to be there.
I bought a bus ticket and a hotel just to come to Phoenix. When that canceled, I'm like, shit, I can't get my money back except for the live events.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted that one so bad, but there was a issue with scheduling with some people involved, so I was like, darn. I don't think it'll ever come here though.
But I still applaud Late to the Party and Chance for coming from Arizona to LA within that short amount of time and communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was like a week or two. They're like, it's gonna be live, just not at a venue. It'll be a show.
And even then, Late to the Party did a great job in that match. The fact it was within like a week amount of time. And I still loved how at the time when Dewberry got perfect round, they were actually trying to push it as getting a perfect round a Dewberry. Like how fun would have been if that had actually caught on? So every now and then, when a competitor won a match instead of a perfect round, you are now 1 point away from you're one question right to get away from getting a Dewberry. That could have been Schmoedown.
Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been really good. Hey, we have JTE. Why not a Dewberry, right?
Yeah, I would never complain about that either. I love it when Schmoedown competitors get their names attached to something. I mean, if Dewberry did get that perfect round thing, then that would have been perfect too, because then that would have maybe intrigued fans, new coming fans, like, wait, who's Dewberry? Is he this good? And then maybe we'll get them to research his previous matches. They get to see ETC. They get to see the Wildberries.
Wouldn't have been perfect. It wouldn't have been perfect.
So the question that we asked with everyone we go over, what impact has Dewberry and the Wildberries left on the Schmoedown? There's no doubt about it. Wildberries has a lasting impact on the Schmoedown. They literally just have a phrase, either this of Wildberries, or we have Josh who always wear that shirt. Wildberries.
And their marketing. I mean, they were one of the first teams to, like, Josh pushed so hard on getting Wildberry t-shirts sold. Like at that time, they were like maybe the one of the few competitors on the time of T Public to actually push forward of selling merch. And I think it was because of the Wildberries. I think that's their legacy actually, because they were pushing very hard on merch sales. We also had so many creative shirts, like with the whenever the Schmoedown, they had special T-shirts for whenever we went to live shows. Even when custom creative shirts, like whenever Brian Ward did a nice art design on T Public, you put that on a shirt. And also with team designs, like either with Founding Fathers, the Shire Wolves, Patriots, late to the party. It was just like those situations to where Schmoedown competitors, if they had a strong fan base, they could push for wanting to get like custom created merch for their favorite competitors. I think that for me, I think that's a Wildberry legacy. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that and the no respinning after opponent's choice. That is, we can't forget that. That's huge.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I loved about us going back at these matches. We just get to find those little nuggets there to where just one little thing helped shape or at least help steer the Schmoedown in a better direction. And I'm actually glad. I'm glad that moment happened with the Patriots and Mega Powers, because if nobody had brought that up, I mean, look, let's be honest, it probably would have came up later on. Christian and Mark would have made a ruling on that. But the fact that they were able to tackle that early on in the Schmoedown's early career means that they didn't have to rely too much on like fans reacting to a certain moment to change something. It was always could.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you, Matt.
You go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying, it was just it's those rare times where Christian and the gang at when they were either at Collider or even now with SEN, they know when they make a mistake, they always try to fix it, which is why I'm really looking forward to when I know they have rules set up, but since they have been pushing very hard on an actual rule book.
I don't know if you saw this, but Christian said that the rule book has been submitted.
Yes, I remember that post. I do.
And I saw some fan got into it with Christian saying that it should be released to the fans if it's trying to be like a sport. I don't care of seeing it. I want the league to have it so that it seems that it's consistency across the board.
Yeah, true. We don't need it. We know, like, why? What purpose would it be for the fans to see it?
So fans can call people out on stuff. But
at the same time, these matches are still pre-recorded ahead of time. Even if the fans did have access to a rule book, it changes nothing because Christian, Mark, Ken, everybody, Thad, they're already aware of the rules and what goes into it. Nerd Chronic, for Christ's sake, you talk about his promos, he also edits the matches as well. So he goes over this stuff maybe 3-4 times during the editing process. So I understand where that fan is coming from about we should have access to the rulebook, but at the same time, the fact that we are now aware that a rulebook exists and that it's also something for new incoming players and for veterans as well. I mean, look, as much as the Schmoedown is turning itself into a sport, I still love it when back then it was simply just a simple game with hints, with added flavors of wrestling involved of the personalities. Ultimately, even though it's becoming more like a sport, I still love the characters. I still love when they with the wild personas in there, which is why the Wildberries are still the top, are still the best characters because they give you the entertainment value that the Schmoedown is a part. But I think we are definitely starting to drag out on our time, so maybe we should wrap this up.
Yeah. It was been a great episode. Wildberries are truly one of my favorite teams ever to watch for that entertainment value. I would love to see that Wildberry Civil War match.
Oh, hashtag Wildberry Civil War.
But the thing is, that might change next season because of they may be drafted to either different teams or we may get lucky and may get them on the same team. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one. But yeah. Josh McCouga, Eliot, Dewberry, some of the most entertaining competitors in the Schmoedown. Hopefully we get more of them in season 8. Any parting thoughts today, fellas?
Ben, parting thoughts. I know Brandon and I kind of dominate the conversation, but you got anything?
What else can I say except for Wildberries?
One more time, guys.
Wildberries.
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 Yes.
Everyone. Ryan, any parting thoughts?
I don't want to say too much I don't want to say too much, so I'm just gonna shorten it out like this. Watch Wildberries matches, guys. Watch Dewberry matches. Watch Makuga matches. I mean, I understand we all want to stay up to date with the current Schmoedown, but it's always great to look back at the past Schmoedown matches. You never know what gems you'll find, honestly.
Yeah.
So please, guys, just watch them. And also promote hashtag Wildberry Civil War. We may not get it at the end of the year, but let's just push that hashtag out there. Let's not forget, everybody, our 3 so far with the 3 episodes, our hashtags, Mance Media, Makuga Magic, and Wildberry Civil War. And hopefully in our next episode, we'll give you a new hashtag to push along.
Yeah. Everyone, as you can see at the bottom, there is our Twitter. Just go ahead and give us a follow. We all really appreciate it. We have all 3 of our personal Twitters up here at the top, mine on the left, Brandon in the middle, Mr. Ryan Payne on the right. They will all be in the description of this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will see everyone next week. Bye-bye.